Hey, welcome back. We're back on the 6-case vertical. Right now, we're going to be putting the gasket on. So make sure you got all your exterior bolts in, your cabinet bolts are all in nice and tight, because our next step will have the gasket. We'll be putting the lock mechanism where the bars lock in first, because your gasket will go over the top of that. So we'll get those installed here right quick. All right, so your next step will be getting the gasket ready to cover, and probably the toughest part is getting all the corners, the two corners done. This side here obviously is the easiest, except you'll have to cut some slots out for the lock. So, and if you've got your fascia pieces, you can use those for your guide, and I usually lay those down first. And if you check your corners here, so where that corner comes across, you want to match that up right off of that corner of that piece there, about like that. We haven't tied this bottom plate in, so that will be our next thing we'll do before we finalize the bottom piece here. I need to tie this into this bottom plate here so we've got it lined up really nicely. It looks like, and you can kind of check yourself on the whole line up here, looks pretty good. I noticed on the factory gasket it did not come all the way out to the edge. It was more lined up off the cabinet tank, and it's the way it's kind of laying out right now. And obviously you need that slot to match up fairly well. You mark this gasket here. We'll cut that out with a razor blade. So now we're going to mark that with a pen right quick. That looks pretty good there. And one thing you can do when we cut this out, we're going to take and cut in the middle here and see if our bottom and our top is going to be right before we cut it all the way out. So cut yourself a little bit of a slit right there, check yourself, see if you're centered really good. There is a hump right here. That little hump is that lock piece where the lock bar locks on. So I can tell right there where at least the lock bar is going to hit about right there. And I got my gasket all the way down there. We'll go ahead and go up to the top one now and check it, see if it's on the money. And I can feel the lock bar right there. Looks really close here. Go ahead and mark it. All right, hang on, let me get me a razor blade and we'll be right back. All right, so get you a good razor blade, lay that cutout area. All right, let's see how that looks. It's pretty good, kind of hits about right. So when you took the old one off, you saw a bunch of staples. We're gonna try that. I got my stapler with me. We're gonna give it a shot, because it is, I always do these laying the machine down instead of standing up, so you can sit there and work with your corners and stuff. But I think at this point, it'll be kind of a nice thing to get this in position, staple it down. So we're gonna give that a shot. Staple it into the wood, get everything kind of lined up where we want it. And you can always trim this again, and if you got to take it off, you can. We won't put too many in, but at least hold it in place so when we're starting to work this corner, we can not worry about this moving around. So this is nice and firm right now. This corner here, you got to make quite a few cuts. May require a razor blade, may require some scissors, but we want that corner to come around just like so. And obviously we've got a whole bunch that's got to come out of that corner. It's been a while since I've done a corner because I buy everything pre-cut, and this one here I got as all one piece. So we're going to start making some cuts here. I may staple that one more time right there. Okay, we made the corner. I kind of feathered it. It's probably not the best looking, but remember that is all covered with your fascia piece. But when we get this other corner here, we'll go through a step-by-step process of what we did to get to that point. But the stapling has definitely been a plus. I'll for sure be doing that on the next one. So get your rubber laid where you want it, and I'm leaving a little bit of an edge all the way around here. We can see the cuts, how I did it. It's probably not correct, but it probably should have saved my old one and copied the cuts they had on it. So if you're doing it, don't throw your gasket away. It could help you in the cutting aspect of it. So I did a straight cut using a pair of scissors. I did my first cut up. And obviously I'll show you why you're having to do this. When you're making that corner, as you see, everything is folding up. So I did some feathering cuts, feathered in from here. So if you want to keep it straight like it is right now, get that cut up in there as deep as you can if you have to. And then what I did is I used a little bit of each corner I cut in an angle. And we're going to do I kind of call it a little bit of a triangle cut. So everything kind of comes back to the center here. And the farther I go, the bigger the angle I start putting on it. I apologize if this is not getting great video cuts here, but now when we make that corner, those fingers will stand up like so, and we can staple that down. So I'm going to keep going. We still need to go a little bit farther here, as you can see. I keep doing that angle, and I can probably maybe take a little bit of this last piece out here. And let's see what happens here now. And if you can, take your gasket, lay it down there so it's laying the way you want it. And keeping this stapled, it keeps everything in place, which is a plus. And if those fingers need to lay over the top of each other, that's great. But I'm going to do a couple more cuts. Matter of fact, let me grab my razor blade right quick. And I like using the scissors because I can do a little bit more angle on it and see exactly the angle I'm going at. And the key thing is get the gasket to where you want it and to make the corner. So right now it's laying actually probably a little better than it was at the other side. We're going to put a staple in it. You just want this to have a nice line, and obviously when that line gets smashed down, it'll probably kind of set it up really nicely. Let me get my stapler and let's put a couple of staples in it. As long as everything is staying in line and not folding up on you, stick a couple of them in there. So you want that corner to lay down fairly nicely. And if you don't like when you get everything down, we can come back and unstaple that and do some reforming on that. Notice when we pulled the old one off, they had just a little bit of a strip here. I'm going to try to keep everything as tight as I can here. So we got good sealing all the way around. So going back to my video, I'm going to turn this on so you can see this. You will see the cutout here. The cutout is done and there was nothing right in that corner. So just to give you an idea, if the cutout is got both the hinges, they're cut out to there. I'm going to have this all full here. I'm just going to cut this out right there around that piece there. Back that up just a little bit. Look at that one more time. So as you see, the cutouts are in there. Both of them just cut out around the hinge. But watch when the trim piece comes off here. Get this guy to speed up here a little bit. When we take the fascia piece off, you'll see the gasket. We'll get the two corners off. Those are critical. Hold those down. Make sure you get those on. You'll be seeing that tonight. So here comes the top piece off, and there is the gasket come around here and stop. So it must have been a cut in their material, and then they just started there and went down. Okay, so that's where we're at. We're going to cut these out. We're going to get it stapled down. And one nice thing, you can hit right where the hinge is at fairly easily, without getting into your paint, obviously. And it goes, where's the other cut? Right here. So we got a cut right there. And you can mark these with a pen, or if you're not too comfortable about doing it this way. And then the hinge side is right here. So we're going to have a little bit of a strip coming through ours. All right, now that I've kind of got a line cut, we got a little bit of a cut there. We'll cut the rest of this with the pair of scissors here. And if you take this corner here and staple it down, then we can keep going here. We're going down to the next two. We'll leave our little bit of our trim edge like we did before, just a little bit of red showing, not much. Cut my line there first. Cut that one. Get this one cut. And let's put some staples in there to kind of hold that where we want it, leaving a little bit of that edge there still showing. Okay, down to our last one here. A little bit of edge still showing. Matter of fact, we'll staple these a little more here, keep them in place. All right, clean that cut up a little bit. All right, we'll make our corner here. Cut a little bit long here for now. So the bottom one won't be fully installed until we get our compressor in there. So we got a little bit of work there to do. So we'll go back, we'll staple what we got left here, keep it into place. We could put our fascia boards on, but before you do that, take a little bit of cleaner. That gasket has like a white, keeps it, take and wipe that gasket down now. Get that white chalky off of there. Now let's lay our fascia boards on there. Get it on there the right way. That's gonna look good. This is gonna be the bottom piece, which we'll leave for the end and the hinge side. So I noticed some of the staples. Make sure you get your staples down. That wood's very hard, so you may have to tap those down. Notice they're standing up a little bit on this side. All right. So our top piece and our hinge side, like so. So let's attach that. I would square before you screw this on. Get everything kind of squared up on where you're going to want that gasket to hit at. That's pretty close right there. Time that gets pulled down. See how our top looks here. Top looks good. Whatever you do, don't over tighten these. You don't want to break your, obviously this is brand new fascia board, and I'm going to jump every other hole right now. Just check alignment so it's in there where I want it to be. I'm just gonna barely pull them all in. And I can tell you right now, the staple thing was legit, because right now I would be watching for all the gasket moving in and out. Right now, I got the gasket right where I want it. I may go back and do these all the way up just to keep it square. Corner one, make sure it gets tucked where you want it. I put a staple right where I need it. I'm gonna pull my staple out. Now we can do it. And as you're doing that, you can form that corner gasket as you're going. Let it work that corner really nicely. Now we'll go around the corner here. We'll get this stood back up. We'll get to doing our drain tube. And we'll go down the side here. All right, we'll go back and retighten some of these now. All right, very nice. This bottom piece will go on later. We'll cut the gasket at that time when we get our compressor installed. I believe, oh, we got 2 corner pieces we need to put on, but we can go ahead and stand it up. Very nice, that's looking good. We will get our corner pieces put on at the top right now. That holds those tabs down, holds that corner in really nicely. We'll take some plumber's putty to cover the rest of that area. That's what they use at the factory, it looks like. Give you a little close up of that in corners. Usually you'll see a little bit of a, looks like plumber's putty in this corner right here. We'll fill that little cavity up, but as you see, those corners hold that down very nicely. All right, gasket except for the bottom is done. I think we'll move on and see if we can get the drain put in tonight, and so we can get the compressor put in tomorrow. So hang on, we'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. We're gonna try to buff out a few pieces here. We're gonna use our Vivid Restore. I took those connectors out, actually little stands that the racks sit on. Not sure if it helped me that much getting them out, but I did take them out. I want to show you how to reinstall those. So if you go back on the last video, actually the earliest video, probably the first one, I took those out to help get the cabinet piece out. Tonight we're going to use a little bit of Vivid Restore on there, on each one of those, kind of shine them up a little bit. It's not going to take much, but they're kind of a nice polished out piece, so we will do a little bit of buffing on these, trying to get as much of that brightness in that steel as possible. The install on these is not bad. If you remember, if you did go back, we took, it's got like a nail system. Ooh, those do shine up good. A little bit of a kind of finish look on there. But the nail, that will go into the wall like this, and then the nail goes in. And when that nail goes in, it spreads that connector out. So we'll hammer those in. So obviously I took them out too. One of the reasons I didn't want to powder coat those, I wanted to keep them more of the shiny finish. So that was another reason we took them out. So when we take it to the powder coater, see if we can get them in there. Tap that first piece in, and probably if you want to use your Vivid Restore right now, probably the best time to do it, because you got something to hold it in place. Really shine them up pretty good. Oh yeah, a lot better. Then take your nail, put your nail in there, just like that. Boy, those are gonna look really nice. So I would say install it. If the fingers are kind of sprung, you might have to get them pulled out a little bit. Obviously we won't show putting all these in it. Sure, Sean will kick it in here and all 20 of these will be in there, but it definitely makes a difference on polishing those up a little bit. That really put the shine on it. So you can see those. A little bit of detail. Just like that. Boy, they are tight too. They are super tight. I'll show a little bit of before and after here. This one here has not been touched. Take your Vivid Restore while it's on the machine and work it right here. And it's not going to take much. You can usually tell this has got a little oxidization on it over the many years of service. It's probably the only time they've ever been cleaned, I'm sure. I'm gonna wipe them down. Take a look at that. That is quite, it just smooths them up really nice. So if you're new to the channel, Vivid Restore, obviously a product you probably never heard of. It's got about 6 feet of product in the can. Looks like cotton candy. It's on Amazon right now, $19.95. But Vivid Restore, you will, obviously if you got Amazon Prime, you can get free delivery. But $19.95 a can, that I'll probably use that one piece on probably everything in here. It goes and goes and goes. So great product. Use it on a lot of different products, anywhere from aluminum, billet, stainless, iron, gold, brass, copper, nickel, even plastic, fiberglass, and chrome. If you go back on my videos, I did a Harley with this product. Buffed out every piece of chrome on that Harley. Man, it looks so nice. But we'll continue on. I'm sure Sean will speed me up after this. We'll get all these in, and then we'll be moving to the sealing up of the bottom of the cabinet, which will be our next step. All right, all those pieces are in. We will go to the sealing of the bottom of the cabinet. I'm sure you've seen me do this before. This is the actual liner on this machine, so it was in good shape. But I always like to do all the corners and all the edges at the bottom just for sealing up purposes. Any water trying to get through there, this will definitely stop it. And it's just going to be a bead across the back. I could probably do it with my, just put it in there and smear it in there, but I love that straight line in there. So that's part of the process of just a little bit of detail we can do to make this look really nice. I do it on the top and the bottom, so we got a good straight line. Put the drain in last night. It's looking really good. All right, let's get all these edges ready for sealer here. We're using a 3M product, 08609. Very, very gooey when you're putting it on. So definitely put some gloves on unless you want to wear it for about a month. But we'll see how our cartridge did from, we used this the other night on the Vendo 39 on the drawer, on the lower cabinet part on it. So we'll see how our product comes out of here. All right, here we go. All right, we'll take a napkin and let that, we'll get a good smear. Make sure, after you smeared it, make sure you pull your tape because it will get rock hard by the next day. I usually just, if you want to take it, get it just a rag. I'm using just a paper towel here. And obviously we want to get just good coverage because our tape lines will definitely clean everything up. I usually go through a couple pairs of gloves. A little bit of lacquer thinner does clean, so if you get this on some areas, it will wipe up while it's still fairly wet. Now we'll pull our tape. Give you a shot of, we probably waited maybe 5 minutes. And there's the inside piece. All right, that is, man, so clean to do it that way. It doesn't take very long. You've got all those corners sealed, double basically. Think about it, we got powder coat and now the corners sealed off, so that pan should be good for many, many years. Okay, we're gonna get the compressor installed right now. Let's make sure you put a couple of little rags down there, just kind of protect that edge a little bit, and we'll scoot this around and see if we can get this in. Be careful with your copper tubes. I always try to set this up on the edge a little bit and then start working this in. Get that set over there, somewhere about right there. And then we'll get this dropped into the back. Should have two studs right here that we'll be trying to drop onto, just like that. We'll get that bolted in. Doesn't take too long to get that in there. You'll have a couple screws here in the back that we need to get set. We'll get those in there right quick. Take you a little bit of silicone when you put these two bottom ones in, Kind of seals that up a little bit. Just some little clear silicone's all you need. Like that. Get the other one in there. All right, so we'll go on to the next step, finalizing getting the lower gasket put on there now. And the cabinet is going to be really close. We got a little bit of some bolts and stuff we need to put on the bottom, but hang on, we'll be right back.